Hello everybody and welcome to LMM, and it's now time for another episode of Lawrie Goes a Little Loco. Now, the observant amongst you might notice the fact that there is no layout out today, which means that we're doing something slightly different. And you'd be right. Today we take our first look at O gauge with this, the Ixion Models Hudswell Clarke 060. Now, the reason I have this is because this is pretty much the Countess of Warwick class. Now, I'm sure someone's going to tell me that I'm wrong in the comments, but it is basically Wissington, which is the last industrial steam engine to work in East Anglia, and more importantly, it's a locomotive that was based at the Mid-Suffolk Light Railway for several years, and it's something that I spent an awful lot of time on as a fireman before I moved on to being a driver, and I loved it. And so when this model was announced, it was something that I just had to have. Now, Ixion themselves, they're an Australian manufacturer, and they've done a couple of forays into the English stuff with O gauge. They did this, and they also did a Fowler 040 diesel mechanical locomotive, just like the one we've got at Mid-Suffolk at the moment. So they've definitely done a lot of Mid-Suffolkish thing, but generally it's Australian stuff, and they did a very interesting O gauge steam rail motor, which is that's quite an interesting thing. So shall we have a look at what's inside the box? Well, the first thing to notice is as we take the lid off, it's a very solid piece of cardboard. It feels like a premium product, and that I really like. I really like that. And as soon as we open the box here, first thing that greets us is the little instruction pack that has the information for starting off. It's got some information on the prototype on the back, which most of it I'm going to be reading. And then on the inside here is the maintenance instructions. It needs no running in straight out the box, which is wonderful. And under there, what greets us are these etched plates. So we've got some running numbers there, like 86, number 10, 1, 2, 5 and 6. Some works plates, which probably tie into different names here, and I'm not sure what name I want to call my engine, but I'm quite partial to Captain. That sounds quite good. But have a look at those guys, and if there's any you think would particularly suit it, let us know in the comments. But I quite like the options there to be able to personalize. And then we have a sprue here full of extra parts. So what I like most is there's a tiny little bucket there, which is a very light railway thing, and a big oil can and a small oil can. And then we've got all these fire irons across here. So I've just got a pick, a rake, a couple of rakes that look like they're for the ash pan, a bent rake, 2 different shovels for throwing out the fire, and then a shovel just there for actually firing the engine. So that's nice to have that detail. So we'll remove this piece here and this piece here to reveal the locomotive. So just off you come. There we go, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Now, this model, I believe, won the Model Railways Model of the Year in 2012, which kind of goes to show what a stunning piece of kit it is. And things I particularly like about it, I love all the detail, and that it immediately brings back memories of Wissington, the engine. Particularly the coupling rods here are 1 coupling rod and 2 coupling rods. It's not one continuous thing put together. No, it's an 0401 and then another 0401 layered on top of each other. Now, there is lots of detail here. We've got all the injector pipe work molded, the handrail, the lining is very nice, the safety valves. It's all gorgeous. So let's ease it out of the box. So it comes out with that, and we'll just place that down there and move the box over there. That is stunning. Absolutely stunning. So I need to get some coal to go in there to fill that, but everything else is basically there. The only thing that really differentiates this from the actual Wissington is we've got a little bulge there, and that's where your hand will go for the reverser. Wissington doesn't have that, it just has a hole, but that's to hide the reverser, and you've got the reverser linkage going down there as well. We've also got here across the front, there's the flap that opens up to allow you to lubricate the cylinders. The buffers are sprung. It's got hooks and chain links, because that's also a lovely bit of detail everywhere. Inside the cab, there is a lot of detail. The regulator is beautifully picked out. One of the gauge glasses, pipe work, handles, lots of little bits and bobs on gauges. That is a lovely detailed backhead. And it's all there with the handbrake. That looks really, really nice. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is on my side looking at it, there's a little dot of solder on the side, and that's a little disappointing, and it's on your side as well. It's just there, and that's a bit sad. And there's some lovely detail there, like there's the sanders under the front. A lot of detail has been moulded on this, the sandboxes, the pipes coming down. It is a lovely, lovely little thing. It is really lovely, and we've got the lamp irons on the front and the back. It is absolutely gorgeous, and then obviously the filler tank up there, which almost looks like it should open up. And now the thing I don't particularly like is the safety valve and the whistle there look very plasticky. They look plastic painted gold, and that's a shame with all this other detail that looks so good. It really does detract from the model somewhat. Apart from that, it's very nice. We've got some riveted detail around the tank, and the smoke box is actually rivet free, which is strange, but never mind. Those buffers are very, very soft as well. Like, I imagine just push something and they will automatically compress, but never mind. There's detail on the springs as well. They are all very nice. Now, this design originally appeared in 1888, and Hudswell Clarke kept producing this class of loco in one form or another all the way up to 1946, which is really quite an impressive production run. And this kind of represents how the locomotive would have looked if it rolled off the production line somewhere in the mid-20s to 30s. That's what they were going for. So it is quite lovely. And it just makes me think of Wissington, which is the main reason I bought it, was for that. And there's one thing about O-Gauge particularly that makes you think it really needs crew. Like 00, you can kind of get away with not putting crew on there. This is blindingly obvious there are no crew. And I would have liked some kind of coal in the bunker. Just something to make it look a little more model and less plasticky. That's honestly a bit of a disappointment. And the fact that I'm missing glazing out of one of my windows, that's also quite disappointing. I've got glazing in through. I wonder if that's in the box somewhere, if that's fallen out. No. Well, that is hugely disappointing. I mean, this model I've never had out the box, really, until now, because I've never had any need for it. I've just kind of looked at it in the box. So that's very disappointing to be missing a window. That's bad. So the basic information about this: the cylinders are in the inside. They are there and there, and it has cylinders that are 13 inches by 20 inches, making it a fairly decent little engine. And based on Wissington, it would steam on nothing. It was an amazing engine for making steam, and the mid-Suffolk Light Railway was more than we ever needed. But it was a super engine, and I've had a lot of fun with it. So I think, if memory serves, these should be a couple of clips of being on Wissington. So a couple more things about the model. Each of the 6 wheels has got pickups on it. There's live pickups on every wheel. The motor in there is designed for slow running with a 40-to-1 gearbox, and it comes in and drives the back wheels, so your drive is actually coming through the rods. And they say on the instructions that it is designed for slow running on shunting layouts. So that's good, and something we can look forward to. The rear wheels are sprung as well, and then it's on a die-cast chassis, just to give it a little bit of extra weight and just give it a bit more sense of power. All in all, I'm sad I'm missing a bit of the glass, because that is a shame. Although it does look a bit chunky at the front, but we can get around that, I'm sure. It is a shame that I can't see underneath the boiler, because that would really make this come alive. But on the other hand, it was like a £200 model, so for O-Gauge that was pretty impressive, to be honest. And there's also some detail on the side of the frames. You've got the firebox just moulded there with some rivets at the bottom through the gap there, where obviously you'd normally get to oiling points. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh, one of my sanders on this side is bent out of shape. That's disappointing. Oh, that is quite upsetting actually. That sander is totally wrong. Oh, I'm scared of moving that. Okay, well it's going to operate this way around. So the question of course is, what am I going to do with this if there's no track out? Well, I might have got somewhere to run it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Skull. Skull is my O gauge layout, and this was built by a good friend of mine, Colin French, who is a very well-known micro O gauge builder. And this one here I saw at an exhibition and instantly fell in love with it, mainly because he had running on it the Ixion Wissington, and it just was at the same time that I was a fireman at the railway, and it just looked perfect. It looks very, very mid-Suffolk, and you know, it's based in a similar area and it's got that kind of feel to it. And one day I was firing for Colin when he was driving, I think possibly even Wissington, and I asked how the layout was, and he said, oh, I'm getting rid of it because I've run out of space, I need to build another layout. Well, I want to build another layout, I need it gone. So I said, well, maybe I could buy it off you. So we agreed a price and I acquired Skull. And that's as far as it's gone. I have never used it, which is a tragedy, I know, but it's just sat around in storage, and I have now managed to get it delivered, which means for the first time ever I can test my own locomotive. Now this is exciting because if it comes through there, this will be the first time A, I have ever run anything on this layout, and B, the first time this is ever run. So let's see what it does. Oh, I hear movement. Oh, look at that. Oh, that is quite superb. That really is absolutely magnificent. Right. This is straight out the box and never been used, and it's just silky smooth. Look at her go. So let's throw the point, and will she go around there? Of course she will. Oh. That's great news. She runs the whole layout. And I appreciate that's not much of a challenge, but this is a huge moment for me. This is my first O gauge Loco. Well, my first proper O gauge Loco, but I'm sure in a later episode of Lawrie Goes a Little Loco we'll see my first O gauge engine. But this is certainly my first layout. And she is just magnificent. Absolutely fantastic. I feel that maybe she should be weathered down a little bit to work on this layout, but oh, that's amazing. That is absolutely 100% amazing. This is the locomotive for the layout. It looks just perfect. I mean, that is brilliant. So I don't have much O gauge stock, certainly not much built. I've got a couple of kits to build, which will be something we'll probably cover in a future episode. But for the time being, I'll put some of the kit that I do have on, and we'll carry out a short shunting manoeuvre. This is the first train ever on this layout. Oh, it is fantastic. So we'll leave that there. Oh, she is fantastic. Right, now we'll take this next wagon. Right, let's bring that now back in. Now I appreciate that I can't really test this out with the layout of this bit. I can't really test its pulling capacities or long running or anything, but I am very impressed with what it will do. Again, straight out of the box, that's quite brilliant. Right, this is all the stock I've got, so this is the best kind of test of power we can do, and if it fails I'll be bitterly disappointed, but yeah, look at that. Walks away with those two wagons, as it should. But I mean, this is presently is as much as I can fit on the layout, because that takes up the entirety of the head shunt. Oh, it is fantastic. Absolutely. Go on, uncouple. one thing about O-gauge, couplings are fiddly, especially if you're not used to it like I am. Okay. Come on, you. Lovely. Now we'll bring this back. Oh. Throw the point again. Uncouple that. Lift that. Off we come. I hope I'm going to get better at uncoupling things. There we go. That is magnificently good. So let's see the most obvious thing. Let's send it back now. We'll bring it back and we'll just see what the crawl speed's like. Oh my, that is fantastic. That is a simply wonderful crawl, and you won't get this in 00. You don't get this kind of sense of ability to shunt. That is brilliant. They produced this in 3 liveries. There was this green, then a red line livery and unlined black. There were plans to do blue, but they thought it looked a bit Thomasy, so it never got released. And then they did a slightly different green. There's the bright green and there's the forest green. I think this is the forest green. Oh, that's absolutely... Oh, I am over the moon with that. So there's only a couple of things I don't like about it. The smoke box really looks like it could do with some rivets. And the fact that the safety valves and the whistle look plasticky, that's a shame. Apart from that, the detail, like here, for the push rods going to the injectors, well, the water feed on for the injector, is just, that is magnificent. I love the detail there. And it really does capture Wissington remarkably well. So I'm going to need to get myself some crew for this to really make it look good. And I suppose the only other disappointment is the fact that I can see the reverser on my side goes into the running board, but there's no gap for it to move. But that's why it's this way around. All in all, it's a magnificent engine. It's long out of production. They haven't made this now for several years, and it's a very sought after model, and I can understand why, because for a layout like this, it's just perfect. And obviously mine's missing a couple of bits, like the glazing missing, but I can live with that. It's fine, because it's such a pretty model. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to play with this forever, I think. It is just for this. Perfect. It runs so nicely. Ah, that is a brilliant model. Well, based on these running characteristics, I really want to get the Ixion Fowler and have a go with that. And maybe I'll need to expand to get some more O-gauge, because this is brilliant. Oh, look at that. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed looking at this little review of the Ixion Hudswell Clarke. Let us know in the comments if you have any ideas on which nameplate I should put on it, where I should put the nameplate on that. I tend to think alongside the cab, and we'll work out which works plate it should have and what running number as well. So let us know in the comments what you think, because there isn't a Wissington one, sadly. And I hope you've enjoyed watching this. If you have, please like, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with your model railway and your railway friends. Hopefully it's the kind of thing they'll enjoy. And like I said, get involved in the comments. And remember, we have got our Discord. The link to that is in the video description, where we talk lots of stuff about real trains, model trains, cars and all sorts. So it's a good place to be. So come along and get involved. I'd love to see the photos of your model railways, especially if you've started dabbling in O-gauge. Hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, how about clicking up here for a review of a real steam locomotive? Or how about clicking over there for the first in the series of Lawrie Goes a Little Bit Loco? Thanks for watching, guys.